I love that new feature that you can pick which one you want to record. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first MS National Office Hours of 2026. It is Thursday, January 8th. I am Heather Cox. With me is.
I'm Dwayne Hyatt.
Okay,
I'm
you
Garrett
really were.
Chandler.
Sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt y'all. You really did all take pictures of me. A, you all suck, and A, I love you all. Or B, I love you all. All
A and
right,
A.
sorry, Chenille. I have interrupted you. Please introduce yourself.
No worries. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm Chenille Hall.
And we are so happy to have Garrett and Chenille with us. They're going to talk to us about Windows 365. The show is yours. I will definitely be turning my camera off now.
Awesome. Well, as Chenille said, Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks, Heather, for inviting us to come talk about Windows 365. We thought we'd go with the New Year's theme of Stranger Things finale ending. I don't know if your New Year's was spent celebrating the way that mine was, but we watched the finale of Stranger Things. I know, Chenille, you had a game night, so even though you probably didn't watch Stranger Things, it was kind of similar.
Yeah.
So that's the presentation, right? That's the theme of today's presentation. So we're just going to walk you through a few of the updates from Ignite on the Windows 365 side. I'll have a little bit of fun with it. I don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. Like what I know about Dungeons and Dragons or D&D is from Stranger Things. So we're gonna try to have some call outs and throwbacks to that. So if you're a big gamer, like don't hate on us. We're trying to have fun and make it lively. So hopefully you'll come along for the ride. Okay. So the biggest question, do you believe? I want to see it in the chat. Do you believe? Yes or no? Or you can throw in a number in there if you really wish. We're going to give you a quick primer on Windows 365. We'll talk about some improvements to the Windows app itself that we think you should all be aware of. And then we'll go into 3 new features that were announced at Ignite around Windows 365 cloud apps going general availability, Windows 365 Reserve, which is really exciting, and then a brief note on Windows 365 for agents. So with that, oh, also, this was kind of the extent of our theme on this part because we didn't want like our legal teams to come after us on like invading, other infringements or whatever with Microsoft marketing. So we're going to see some decks. We'll do some demos. But yeah, with that, I will turn it. No, I continue, right, Chenille? Am I
Yep.
continuing on? Yeah.
All you.
So all me. So again, Windows 365, if you're not familiar with it, this is essentially desktop as a service, right? If you think about the way that we took Office 365 and put it in the cloud, we're doing the exact same thing with Windows. So it's a SaaS offering. We can provision cloud PCs pretty close to on the fly. They can be ready in about 30 minutes, but they're fully managed within Microsoft Intune and compliant and secure with Entra ID, conditional access, and all the tools that you are familiar with and probably leveraging within your environment today. This is honestly the best offering out there when it comes to VDI, right? Virtualization of Windows. It is as like for like as a physical desktop as you can possibly get to today. And from a management perspective, we're really simplifying that so that the endpoint admin teams can manage these cloud PCs just like they do their physical teams or physical PCs. We don't need a whole nother separate VDI team or a networking team taking on that workload when they don't always have the same knowledge, intimate knowledge of the Windows ecosystem and also how the users are actually using the Windows operating system. So this is actually procured in like Microsoft 365 licensing. So you would purchase it per user per month. And we have various different SKUs available, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Now, you might be asking yourself, like, hey, I know that Azure Virtual Desktop exists. How is this different than AVD? And there's a few callouts that we wanted to at least showcase and make sure that you're aware of so that you're grounded and understand as we move forward what these updates entail. So with Azure Virtual Desktop, that is administered through the Azure portal largely. We can manage the session host directly inside of Intune, but it is a PaaS solution, right? So that's going to live in the Azure world. You've got to manage the storage, the compute, all the networking behind it. There's a lot of knobs and switches that we give you access to. So if you're looking for that full-fledged VDI experience, AVD is your go-to there. It provides that flexibility and that control. We offer lots of great ways that we can control the costs, right, with scaling plans, so we can turn on services when demand is high, lower them when it's holiday break and our students aren't needing those services. So it's really priced on consumption. And that really speaks to the PaaS itself. So again, we're hosting it inside of Azure, our data centers, but really everything else you manage. With Windows 365, right, it's that SaaS offering. We're making it super simple for you to procure and then assign to users and deploy a new cloud PC directly to them. And it's accessible anywhere, right? It's always on 24/7. It can be accessed from any mobile device or web browser out there, and it synchronizes all the services that you're already using today, right? Your apps are going to come from Intune, your files are going to sync with OneDrive. It's a great experience without having to manage something different. We'll talk a little bit too about the Windows app. The Windows app is kind of that single pane of glass where we can access those cloud PCs. But it's good to know that that's actually a unified experience between both AVD and Windows 365. This is just a responsibility model. I think you guys are pretty familiar with this, right? Just the difference between PaaS and SaaS offerings, so you can see where there's value to the Windows 365 offering. Again, we are streamlining so many things. Again, I think I meet with most customers after they procure a Windows 365 license when I conduct POCs and trials, and they can usually spin up a cloud PC within 30 minutes of actually assigning that license to a user. So this is drop dead simple, able to get those cloud PCs out to your users. I mentioned earlier that we have some different flavors available. Wait, Chanel, is this yours?
Yep,
I think
I
this
can
is
take this,
yours.
Garrett.
I'm gonna turn it over to you then. Stop
Awesome.
talking.
Thanks, Garrett. Yeah, so basically to meet the needs of different use cases, Windows 365 is available across all these different device and platform options, like Garrett mentioned. So not just physical Windows PCs, but MacBooks, iPads, Androids. So users can get the latest version of Windows 11 from any of those different platforms. In terms of specs, we offer a wide range of compute, memory, and storage configurations. Like Garrett mentioned, it's priced per user per month, so you're able to predict costs ahead of time, stay in line with budgets. So that's a good feature. And you have the ability to select different configuration combinations, kind of just depending on the overall needs. So just like you would, when you're buying physical PCs, you can do that with the cloud PCs as well. Something that's pretty cool is you can resize your cloud PCs at any given time. So if you purchase a certain amount and deploy them, and you notice after a few months that there's some underutilization, you can, resize those PCs, which automatically reassigns a license to the user and gives them that necessary configuration without disrupting their access or their productivity. And we also have GPU-enabled cloud PCs. Comes in 3 different flavors: standard, super, and max. And that's really useful for scenarios like graphic design, video editing, 3D modeling, those more graphics-intensive scenarios. On the next slide, Garrett, I'll walk through the different versions beyond enterprise. So of course, when we first introduced Windows 365, we only had the enterprise version, but we've since added frontline licensing, and that's pretty much to just provide some additional flexibility and some additional cost-saving opportunities. I was already touched on enterprise, which is that one-to-one dedicated model. But the frontline SKU, it's more ideal for scenarios where users don't necessarily need 24/7 access to a dedicated cloud PC. And that's dedicated and shared in frontline mode. So for dedicated specifically, a single license can provision up to 3 cloud PCs. So let's say you purchase 100 frontline dedicated licenses. That means up to 300 cloud PCs can be provisioned, but only 100 of those can be active at a given time. And the sessions are managed automatically, right? So once one user signs off, the session is then released for another user to start using the Cloud PC. Now, Frontline Shared, you're able to provide this access to multiple users with a non-personalized desktop experience. So a single license allows you to provision one Cloud PC, but it can be shared non-concurrently amongst a group of users. So this is designed more for users who only require access to a Cloud PC to perform like specialized tasks for a really short period of time throughout their workday, and they don't necessarily need data persistence. So on the next slide, this graphic really just illustrates the difference between all these different options. So at the top, you have your enterprise license where each user has their own license, is demonstrated by the different shades of gray. So 3 users, 3 licenses. In the middle, frontline in dedicated mode, 3 users who are on different shifts are using the same license just across different times of day. So there's 3 users, but there's only 1 license. And then at the bottom, frontline in shared mode. So there's an undefined amount of users. They're all using the same license, but again, for really short periods throughout the day, and it's not concurrent use. So again, this licensing model it's useful for things like labs, libraries, even some global staffing scenarios. So if you have like members who are working across different time zones, this could be really useful. And I know, Garrett, you mentioned the Windows app. So on the next slide, I'll touch on what that is and how that's beneficial.
Yeah, and really quick too, Chanel, I think this, when we talk about Windows 365 between enterprise and frontline, dedicated, frontline, shared, it can get really confusing, but I think this slide does a good job of helping you understand those different operations, how you would visually see these and think about them within your own environment. So this is why we wanted to show you this. So you can take a screenshot, but we'll also get this deck out to you.
Thanks, Garrett.
All right, Season 2, Windows
Yes.
app.
Windows
Feature
app,
2.
thank you. So Garrett taught us that cloud PCs are provisioned through Intune, right? So that's the admin side of things. You're probably wondering, well, how do the end users actually access their cloud PCs? So the Windows app was pretty much designed to bring together all of a user's remote desktop environments. So in addition to cloud PCs, they can also access their Azure virtual desktops as well as their remote apps, all from this central location. It's available on, of course, Windows, but also Mac and iOS, Android, Chrome OS, as well as on the web at windows.cloud.microsoft.com. Next slide, please, Garrett. Just to take things a step further in terms of accessing cloud PCs, we have this secret super device called the Windows 365 Link. It's pretty much a compact, lightweight device, and it's purpose-built for Windows 365. For reference, know if you can see it, but this is what it looks like in real life. So really small and neat, but powerful. It has all the necessary ports for your peripherals, and it also is Bluetooth enabled for any wireless connections. Like I said, super powerful from a security perspective. Everything, it's secure by default. Like everything we design, it has all the built-in security baselines. It leverages passwordless authentication. There's no local data storage, so an additional security feature there. And it's managed with Intune, right along with all your other devices. So this is great for like student lab environments or onboarding temporary staff members like guest lecturers or teaching assistants. And it's a really cost-efficient way to replace devices that are end of life. So now that we've covered the basics, Garrett, can you maybe tell us about some of the cool announcements from Ignite?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Janelle. Okay, so the big one, feature 3, is cloud apps. So we have now made it available. It's GA for everyone to be able to provision Windows 365 cloud apps. So what does this mean? These are now your virtualized applications. We can actually take the applications that you have inside of Intune already built out and created, and we will publish them as remote applications. And I'm going to give you a quick demo of this. This is actually built on that Windows 365 frontline shared model, which is why we started with that to help you understand what's available to you. But this is what the Intune console looks like. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, but if we go into the devices node and navigate to Windows 365, you will see all of your cloud PCs available. With the cloud apps, you'll notice that there is a button here, a tab up at the top that says all cloud apps. And these are the apps that are available in Intune that I have created. And I have only 2 right now published as cloud apps, PowerShell and Microsoft Edge. Because this is built on the Windows 365 Frontline shared model, we can make this available to a large subset of users, but we would only pay for the users who are using it concurrently at that point in time. So if they're only going to be in the application for 30 minutes to do that task that Chenille was talking about, they'll go in, they'll log in, they'll log into the Windows app, they'll see the virtual application, they'll launch it, and they'll be able to interact and utilize that application. And then when they're done, they just close out, right? And the next user is available to utilize it. So think about it in that pooled sense. What's really nice is that because this is all managed within the Intune console, again, endpoint admins don't have to do anything that's not unfamiliar to them. It's very similar to adding it to a group and assigning it to those users like you normally would. So here's a real-life demo of the Windows app itself. I'll show you the desktop version, but this one is just in the browser here. By default, we bring you to the devices pane, so you can see my cloud PCs that exist, but also the pink-orange ones are my AVD session hosts. But on the left-hand side, you'll notice that there's a new apps button, and there's my virtualized apps, right? Those remote apps. And I can actually launch these directly from here. I took the liberty of doing that ahead of time. Oh, but it needs to reconnect. So I'm going to reconnect here for you. Hopefully this will go pretty quick. And you'll see that it's bringing it in full screen mode where I'm going to connect to the desktop. And then it is going to bring open the application itself in a separate tab up here. So in just a moment, that PowerShell ISE application will load up and I'll be able to interact with the PowerShell console. Because this supports tabs, those additional virtual apps that we see, if I wanted to go launch Edge, for example, it would show up in here as another tab, and I can flip between the 2 different applications as needed. Looks like the demo gods are not with me today, but we can try again here on the physical desktop. So you can see here is the Windows app itself. Click on my apps. And if I were to launch the Microsoft Edge app, let's try this one. If not, we'll move on. And there you go. You can see that this remote app is starting to connect. You'll actually be able to tell within the taskbar here. It's going to actually pull the app icon with a little Windows 365 logo next to it. Oh, here it comes up on this other screen. So here you go. Here's my Edge browser. It's already synced to my profile, so all that goodness is already there. The last session I was in was Copilot, I guess. And so you can actually see down here, if I can bring it up, the taskbar. It's not going to load for me here. Well, you can see very clearly that that is a virtualized app directly within the taskbar. Oh, there you go. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. Right there, you can see that Windows 365 icon there, noting that that is a virtualized application. So even here, if I were to go and log into like speedtest.net, right, I'm at home right now. I don't have that fast of a pipe, but you can tell that this Edge browser is actually running in the Microsoft data center, right? Look at those speeds. They're phenomenal. I don't pay for that at home, so you can quickly tell that we're getting that great performance automatically from there. So just wanted to showcase this is now available for you guys. You can test this out. You can provision those apps already within the Microsoft Intune console and get those out to your users as you see fit. All right, we're running out of time, so a couple more updates here. Windows 365 Reserve. This is an amazing new offering from Microsoft. So what we've done is we've created a new SKU called Windows 365 Reserve. You can purchase these licenses, and it is meant to be an insurance policy. So if you think about times where disaster strikes and individuals cannot access their physical PCs, Maybe their kid spills Coke on the laptop and short circuits it and it's no longer functional. Wouldn't know anything about that. Maybe it's dropped. Maybe there is a cyber incident that is preventing users to being productive on their Windows session. IT admins can actually go into the Windows 365 portal and with the Windows 365 Reserve, provision a temporary cloud PC for your end users to be productive. It's fully secure, right? It's wrapped within Entra ID. It's Entra ID joined, has those conditional access policies that you have in your environment pre-applied. Defender for Endpoint is loaded. It's fully managed by Intune. So all of their apps are there. OneDrive will sync their files. It is ready to go. There's a couple of catches with this that I want to make you aware of. This temporary cloud PC is only available for 10 days, 10 business days within a year lifespan of these Cloud PC licenses, these reserve licenses. So what that means is if you provision a Cloud PC that's in a reserve and a user utilizes it, there's a kind of a time bomb there. They'll have 3 days of working before their physical device is restored or whatever it may be, but that will get them through in a pinch, in an emergency situation. So you have a year to utilize those full 10 days. But once you're up with the 10 days, right, you'll no longer be able to access that physical PC. The other catch that I want to make you aware of, and I want to show you this inside of the Intune console. If we look at our provisioning policies, I have one here for Windows 365 Reserve. And the other catch is that you need to plan ahead with this. So you need to actually procure these licenses ahead of time. You need to assign them to users ahead of time, but you may not want to provision it until it's ready to. And this is a really good example of why this would matter. So if you look at this pane, you see that I have 2 users here that have a Windows 365 Reserve license, Garrett and Kara. You'll see that Garrett was assigned and has a ready for provisioning. Let me zoom in here for you. Ready for provisioning. This Cloud PC can be provisioned, but Kara's right above that says that this Cloud PC cannot be provisioned until January 15th at 11:19:15 a.m. down to the second. There is a 1-week holding period between assigning the licenses and being able to provision them. So think about this like an insurance policy. You can't go get in a car wreck and then call up AAA and say, hey, I would like to buy your insurance and then file a claim on it, right? There's usually a waiting period before you can file a claim with your insurance company. This is how to think about reserve. So you want to procure the licenses, have them ready in your tenant, readily available, get them assigned to users to ensure that that provisioning period has time so that when that moment strikes, you can quickly spin up the Cloud PC. And again, it's within 30 minutes, you'll have a Cloud PC ready to go. Any comments on that, Chenille? Any clarifications I should make?
No, I think it did a great job, Garrett, but we can check
Perfect.
for any questions in the chat after, yeah.
This is really exciting. Again, there is a cost associated with it. It's like $1.67 per user per year. So we talked about Windows 365 pricing being a per user per month. That is true for the enterprise and frontline SKUs. For the reserve licenses, it's per user per year. And Chenille's going to give you some even better news in just a little bit. Okay. I think it's back to you, Chenille.
No, I think you're covering agents and I'll wrap
Oh,
up.
I'm still covering. Okay, never mind. You can tell we rehearsed, right? Okay, so then the last update that we had at Ignite was Windows 365 for agents. So if you are out there exploring AI, utilizing Copilot Studio, maybe investigating computer use agents, Windows 365 now has a preview available where you can actually leverage this infrastructure behind the scenes in your CUA agents, CUA agents in some regards. So what this means is if you're familiar with Copilot and the researcher application, this is actually what we're using with agent mode behind the scenes. So anytime you go into agent mode and you have AI acting on your behalf, doing some internet searches, it brings up a full computer web browser, will search on your behalf. That's Windows 365 in the background. We are now giving this to customers. So if you're building your own agents within Copilot Studio, you can take advantage of Windows 365 and you can leverage it for your own agentic workloads within there. So there's a couple of offers available. You do have to sign up for it. So reach out to your Microsoft account team if you're interested in doing this. We'll give you 50 free hours with Windows 365 for agents to be able to test this and see how it would work within your own environment. The cool part about this is because those agent workloads, because these machines are still fully managed by Intune, fully backed by Intra ID, conditional access, man policies, DLP, all that goodness, right? You can trust that the agentic workloads can be used for those enterprise grade workloads that you may be using for agents. So it's kind of an up and coming area, but I think it's pretty exciting to be on the forefront of that. All right, Chanel, on to the good news from you.
Yes, so last but certainly not least, we want to equip you all with the ability to actually leverage these tools. So we do have some ongoing promos. To start Windows 365 Reserve, we have an awesome 50% off annual subscriptions, and this is available until the end of May. So as Garrett mentioned, this is priced on an annual basis, and this gives you half off. I think that's an amazing promo, so please take advantage. And on the next slide, Garrett, I'll talk about the general Windows 365 enterprise and frontline SKUs where we're offering 20% off. Did you want to touch on anything there?
Yeah, just really quick, like remember that I said $1.67 for Windows 365 Reserve, right? This 50% off means 83 cents per user per year. 83 cents for the year to get a Windows 365 Reserve instance to have on hand. So if you have 1,000 users that you want to license this for, that's $830 for the entire year. That's a very cheap insurance plan, right? So think about it in those terms. Again, huge offer for 50% off. I think you'll want to look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for Windows 365 Enterprise and Frontline SKUs, we are offering 20% off up until the end of April. This is for organizations purchasing these licenses for the very first time ever. So as Garrett mentioned, if you want to learn more about any of these offers or promos, highly encourage you to connect with your account team. So Garrett, I'll just throw it back to you for any closing words.
That's it. That's all we got.
Okay.
I know it's right on time. So lots of updates coming from Windows 365. You're going to continue to see this innovation continue to drive. Heather, I'm sure you're seeing it too within your own teams. Lots of popularity on EDU front. We're also, a lot of us are working with state and local governments now. This is becoming really, really popular. I think I have like 10 or 12 POCs going on right now from higher education customers across the board. So if you're interested, let us know. We'll be happy to connect you with the right teams to get you guys started. And again, I want you to take advantage of the promos while they are available. So thanks, Heather.
Yes, thank you. I think that's it's almost like you set me up to do my unified plug, because should you purchase Windows 365 and you do have unified, or if you don't and you want to get unified, actually my team, the team that I manage for for Microsoft, now covers Endpoint, Windows 365, and Azure Virtual Desktop. So if you are somebody that does go ahead and you do get involved, and then you want that unified support to make sure that everything is just the way you need it to be, my team is the team that helps you do that. So, and I love my team, and they are incredible. So
they're rock stars.
Fantastic. They'll get you started, Garrett, Chanel, and team, and then we'll move it over to us and get you all that support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We love y'all. Hey, Craig's back in the chat with more t-shirt stuff. I mean, yeah, we're gonna have to update that. Thank you for that. I am gonna get this uploaded very soon, because if I walk away, there's a good chance I'll forget. So thank you guys very much, and we will see y'all next week. Time to kick you out. Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year. Bye.